Can you believe it? The little girl in front of me is just 14 years old. I can't believe she is already the mother of 2 children. She started having relationships with boys at the age of 11. She gave birth to her first child at the age of 12. In just a short span of 4 years. She has been pregnant 4 times. But each time, she doesn't know who the father of the child is. Can you handle that? Date, January 10, 2013, location, Chiang County, Hunan Province. On this day, the villager Lao Li suddenly discovered that his 12-year-old daughter Cece had a swollen abdomen. Lao Li was worried that something was growing inside his daughter's belly. He hurriedly took Cece to the hospital for an examination. The results almost made Lao Li faint. His daughter was actually pregnant. The child was already 5 months old. This also means that Cece was not even 12 years old when she became pregnant. Who can endure this? So on January 18, 2013, Lao Li took Cece to the hospital to prepare for an induced labor. When it was learned that Cece was only 12 years old, the on-duty doctor immediately realized something was wrong. They quickly reported it to the police. A primary school child is pregnant. They must have realized it was a criminal case. After questioning, Cece told the police, there are 2 teachers named Tang Dongyun at her school. One of them is her elementary school homeroom teacher. The other one is the one associated with her. This Tang Dongyun has a silver gray car. However, the police investigation revealed that there are indeed 2 Tang Dongyuns, but there is only one at the school. The other is a 74-year-old villager. The police then took the girl for identification. The result surprised everyone. The suspect turned out to be a 74-year-old man. At 7 p.m., Tang Dongyun was taken away by the police. Upon hearing the news, Lao Li couldn't believe it at all. The biological father of the child would be this old man who is over 30 years older than him. 7 days after Tang Dongyun was arrested, Lao Li submitted another supplementary statement to the police. In this statement, Cece identified 3 teachers from her primary school. There were 3 teachers involved in the assault. They were the math teacher of class 76, and the Chinese teacher, Mr. Zheng from class 72. However, after investigation, the police found numerous discrepancies in Cece's identification. The scene she identified was indeed the scene of her rape. Not class 76. It's the classroom of class 71. Furthermore, this teacher was not a Chinese teacher. Additionally, the Mr. Zheng from class 72, we have verified, has the surname Zhang, not the surname Zheng. At the same time, this teacher is a female. She's female. She is not a male. In order to quickly find the suspect, the police collected Cece's amniotic fluid, along with blood samples from the 2 male teachers she identified, and from Tang Dongyun. They conducted a comparison. The results showed that the father of the child is indeed 74-year-old Tang Dongyun. In response to this result, Cece's mother suspected that the testing agency had falsified the results. How could he have done the DNA test in 2013? How could it be so fast? Sent out today. We'll have answers by tomorrow morning. You, as a journalist, I'm here to ask you this question again. It's already in the past. Let's not bring it up again. Sending it over today. Answers will be available at 10 o'clock tomorrow. Do you believe it? It's not that quick, is it? The 4 test samples are all routine samples. There are 3 blood samples and 1 amniotic fluid sample. 4 our machines. It's also over 10 hours. Moreover, Lao Li and his wife also suspect that the blood samples taken by the identification agency do not belong to the suspect. Just when Lao Li and his wife were doubting, Cece had always admitted that the suspect was Tang Dongyun, but suddenly denied it. The principal told me to say that. He told me to say. He said as long as I mentioned that old man. If you mention the school teachers, I won't be allowed to go to school anymore. Did that old man ever bully you? No. Didn't that old man bully you? Didn't anything ever happen between you two? Yes. However, Tang Dongyun himself did not say that. When did you start? It started in August of last year. 5 yuan each time. I gave her 5 yuan. Ask how many times the relations occurred. A total of 8 times. It happened a total of 8 times. 74-year-old Tang Dongyun is a 5 guarantees household. Without children. Never married in his life. Lacks financial capability. Lao Li does not believe it. Someone of such an age, still capable of making someone pregnant. So he went directly to the local education bureau, demanding compensation. Otherwise, he would go public. I said, "What do you want to achieve?" He said it was a private settlement. Or go public. I said 1 million yuan. He said okay. By next Friday, I will go to the education bureau to find him. He said if you go public, then go public. Because I mentioned 1 million yuan. You 3 people. The pressure from the 3 of you isn't much. If it reflects negatively, you might lose your job too. Your reputation will be lost, right? Now they still say that. They say I'm greedy for money. Now I want to find the truth. I need to find her biological father. Can't find this biological father. Will never give up. Lao Li, rejected by the Education Bureau, made a decision that would ruin his daughter's life. That is to give birth to this child. Preserve evidence. Lao Li and his wife also said, the reason they did this. There is another reason. It's because the local government tried hard to prevent Cece from giving birth to a child. He suspects they are colluding together. The government claims this is an injustice. We just offered her a suggestion. Because if she at such a young age has to give birth to a child, that would indeed ruin her lifelong happiness. Ruin her life. The second point is that, concerned about the safety of the little girl and the baby. The third point, we also consulted relevant legal professionals. If she terminates the pregnancy, as long as this embryonic tissue is preserved, then doing a DNA test is the same as after she gives birth to the child. The results of the re-examination are the same, but this little girl's father has always insisted that giving birth to this child can serve as evidence. In March 2013, the court sentenced Tang Dongyun to 12 years in prison. On May 7, 2013, 12-year-old Cece gave birth to a daughter. Once this news came out, it instantly sparked public opinion. Cece was also pushed to the forefront. However, just as one wave subsided, another rose. Cece's father, Lao Li, could not accept the court's ruling. So he revealed shocking news online. He identified Teacher Tang, Teacher Wang, and Teacher Xia from the school. They also strengthened his daughter. The police intervened in the investigation again. This time Lao Li presented new evidence. It was Cece's diary. It clearly recorded the process of Cece being coerced by the 3 teachers multiple times. However, the police questioned the authenticity of the diary's content, expressing doubts. From June 9 to July 8, the actual class time should only be 22 days. According to her testimony, she had sexual relations with several different teachers, more than 30 sexual intercourses. Moreover, this time frame was always around 4 p.m. At the same time, in different locations, with different individuals. Within the span of 22 days, there were over 30 sexual encounters. Logically deducing this, it is almost impossible. There could be a first time, a second, a third. Is this written for just one day? Why are there no specific times? Which day is it approximately? Why are there only 1, 2, 3? My dad told me to write this. The 3 teachers accused by Cece. I just feel like I'm sitting at home. Disaster came from nowhere. I also feel very helpless. I also feel for the victim. Both pitiful and infuriating. You're slandering people like this. Others just sympathize with you. A victim. An underage person. But we have been falsely accused by you. Then we also became victims. We had nowhere to speak. The adult's argument, the poor family background, left this young girl, who had just become a mother, and her newborn baby in a difficult situation. At that moment, a Children's Relief Foundation from Beijing appeared. While they were preparing to help Cece, a reporter who had interviewed Cece posted a Weibo message. It left them deeply disappointed in this family. The content revealed that Cece personally admitted that the 3 teachers were falsely accused by her, simply because Cece had a bad relationship with them. After the incident, fearing her parents' scolding, she insisted that the 3 teachers did it. They are now very good friends. A particularly good one. A friend who loves doing charity work. He said that such people cannot be helped. Although at this time, the foundation had serious doubts about the family's integrity, they did not give up on this little girl. They brought Lao Li's family to Beijing. They arranged for Cece to attend a middle school. They also found Lao Li a security job at the school. They even arranged housing for the family of 4. This was so that Cece's mother could take care of her granddaughter. They thought everything was developing in a positive direction. However, the reality was completely the opposite. During her time in Beijing, Cece seemed to have completely let herself go. She would lie. She seldom told us the truth. She hardly opened up to us or communicated. This included her inability to focus on her studies. She would even skip school. This involved smoking and drinking, self-harm, suicide. She was equivalent to a troubled youth. At that time, she still wanted to skip school. It was even during that time. She was constantly chatting with strangers online, even meeting up with them. She really ended up being involved with them. Cece was particularly good at using the internet. This child was very skilled at going online. Let's just browse the internet casually. There were a lot of those pornographic things. In reality, this society has a negative impact on our children in this regard. The proliferation of premature enlightenment is a phenomenon that actually has particularly bad effects on children. Cece has a mobile phone. In the school's classrooms and offices, there are also computers. Through social networking apps on her computer and phone, she started actively meeting some unfamiliar men. In order to control her daughter, her mother confiscated her phone. To get her phone back, Cece not only fought with her parents, but even ran away from home. In desperation, Lao Li gave the phone back to Cece. To prevent Cece from going online at school, the teachers set passwords on the computers. As a result, Cece is particularly talented in this area. She cracked the password in just a few minutes. Since she started interacting with unfamiliar men online, Cece has become increasingly uncontrollable. During this time at school, we initially found that she was actively seeking contact with men in areas such as smoking and drinking. Later I found out she actively sought them out. This is very dangerous. Such a young child. Is she going out for the night? Is it to have relations? It doesn't necessarily mean overnight. To keep Cece in check, the foundation even had someone follow her 24/7. But this is not a long-term solution, because as soon as Cece leaves school and returns home, she needs her parents to discipline her. But Lao Li has to go to work. Cece's mother has to take care of the children. And Cece is very good at lying. So if they're not careful, Cece can sneak out. One day in May 2014, Cece did not come home all night. Lao Li and his wife, along with the foundation, reported it to the police immediately. The next day, Cece contacted her family voluntarily. She said she had been sexually assaulted. After the police got involved, they found that the facts were not as stated. Surveillance footage showed. That night, Cece actively followed a man into a hotel and checked in. This behavior made the foundation start to think why a girl began at the age of 11. She actively sought contact with the opposite sex. The foundation then found the little girl for a conversation. Cece revealed the sexual temptations she faced all originated from some colored discs. She mentioned it to us. When she has memories, she remembers her parents often watching porn in front of her. So for her, this signal was given to her. It meant that she could do the same. I could be a part of this. Later, she felt that running away. This grandfather provided her with some material things, some comfort. She felt that this was real love. In her memory, she often saw her parents watching these discs. The Lao Li couple did not acknowledge this, but they also did not deny it. They indeed wanted a boy more. They admitted that the child was not properly raised, but they felt that the responsibility lay with each other. Lao Li felt that his wife was too lenient in discipline. His wife believed that Lao Li's harsh education methods were to blame, letting his daughter lie to escape punishment. This has led her to develop a habit of lying. June 2014. Lao Li was severely injured in an accident. However, misfortunes never come alone. At this time, Cece was pregnant again. Worried that the foundation would stop helping them if discovered. So Cece's mother secretly brought Cece to Shenzhen to seek help from a Mr. Xia, preparing to have an abortion. This Mr. Xia was in his 50s, divorced for many years, currently running a kindergarten in Shenzhen. He contacted Lao Li after seeing news of Cece's pregnancy at age 12. He took the initiative to reach out to Lao Li, and told them they could contact him if needed. They could get in touch with him. At that time, he left his contact information with Lao Li and his wife. From June 2014 to July 2015. During this more than a year, Cece's family frequently traveled between Beijing and Shenzhen, and their living and transportation expenses in Shenzhen were all covered by Mr. Xia. So why did Mr. Xia do this? In response, Lao Li said, Mr. Xia wants to marry Cece as his wife. Explosive. It's just too explosive. But regarding this statement, Mr. Xia said, the idea of marrying Cece was initially proposed by Lao Li and his wife. He said as long as we are willing. His child agrees. This is something we are doing voluntarily. He said my child has to marry someone. That is, she must marry someone. Generally, she wouldn't be able to get married anyway. The implication is that he wants me to give him money. His main purpose is still to get money from me. His wife's intention isn't very strong. His wife just said to give some money, and also take good care of her child. Then she would feel justified about it. Her husband is basically all about the money. Furthermore, Mr. Xia also said, in order to allow Cece to marry him, Lao Li and his wife even said they would go to the police station to change Cece's age to older than she is, since she's only 14. Mr. Xia said, if they hadn't had this thought first, how could it be that at the very first moment after discovering Cece was pregnant, they came to seek his help? In August 2014, Cece had just arrived in Shenzhen 2 months ago, and underwent an abortion with Mr. Xia's accompaniment. Not long after, the staff from the Beijing Children's Foundation located Cece and her mother, and also discovered an explosive chat record, where husband and wife referred to each other, including some explicit images. Such content. Is it you? He fell silent. He had nothing to say to us. Later we said, that at least this is an inappropriate behavior, regardless of whether you knew her age. If she told you she was over 14, whether or not she said that to you, this still constitutes a very improper act. We can definitely report this to the police. Only then did he bring Cece and her mother back. In September 2014, the foundation took Cece and her mother back to Beijing. 4 months later, 14-year-old Cece is pregnant again. This is her third pregnancy. So, whose child is this? Let's continue to see. This time, Cece's mother disregarded Lao Li and the foundation's objections, and took Cece to seek Mr. Xia's help again. Although the foundation urged them to return multiple times, they were all refused. Unexpectedly, 5 months later, on a day in June 2015, Cece suddenly called the foundation's staff to make a phone call. Said she was going to sue Mr. Xia, but she had no evidence. She asked how to report it to the police. However, Cece's mother said that Cece wanted to sue Mr. Xia because Mr. Xia was too strict with her and wouldn't let her go out to see people outside. So the two of them had a conflict. Although Cece's mother denied that Mr. Xia had a relationship with Cece, the foundation staff believed that the truth was not so. At that time, in January, Cece told me, that child is the mobile phone shop owner's. So I also think so. The child she is currently pregnant with could also potentially be. It is very likely not Mr. Xia's, because Cece revealed it. Mr. Xia had sexual relations with her. I think this should be a fact. And Mr. Xia also denies that he violated Cece. But he admits, under the persistent requests of Cece's mother, he agreed to consider accepting Cece when the conditions are right. He can consider accepting Cece. At the end of August 2015, 14-year-old Cece gave birth in her hometown in Hunan. She gave birth to her second child. So who is the father of this child? Cece's mother said. In January, they were still in Beijing. At that time, after she discovered Cece was pregnant, she immediately reported it to the police with the foundation. And the one being reported to the police. You cannot imagine. This child in her belly. When was she conceived? She was conceived on December 19th. December 19th. How was this conceived and whose is it? It is from Beijing. This is from Beijing. So did you report it to the police? Reported. So, are there any suspects? There are people who are suspicious. She said the guy who sells phones. The phone seller. It's somewhere in Beijing, like Xiaotangshan. A phone seller. They also chatted online. He's a year older than us, right? He was born in 1971. Due to insufficient evidence, the police did not arrest this phone seller. But blood samples have already been taken from him and Mr. Xia. Once it is determined who the biological father of the child is, he will definitely face severe legal consequences.